Welcome to Will's World, your will overall, powered by Third Gen Physical Therapy and Sports Science Institute.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Will's World. And in today's episode, man, we're going to touch on a nice topic that one of my clients him and I were discussing. And before we get started, though, I want to welcome everybody. I'm back once again. Like I said, second episode since the return, episode 104 to be exact. And for all you have been here, thanks for being here. The new people who are showing up, thanks for joining us. And the people who, quote unquote, you know, are going to be our constant listeners, man. We greatly appreciate you guys because if it wasn't for you all, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So today's episode is going to be titled "Your Brain Can Carry You." And for everybody who's been for a minute, you know me and these titles. If the title is that, it's probably some like off the wall, but at the same time, this is something super important. One of the conversations that we were having in the clinic one day, man, concerning our willpower, which kind of ties back into you know the title of our podcast. We were speaking on three different aspects. The first thing that we were speaking on, which really is going to be the basis for the talk, is one, physical attributes. Two, mentally, how do you overcome um, some of the things that you think you can't physically? And then three, what do you learn and do in defeat? Right. So let's kind of paint this picture real quick here first before we get going. All of us have something that we have tried to accomplish and we feel like physically we can't, whether that's the quote unquote ability to be able to get up and go to the place you need to go to in order to do the job or train or be able to actually set up, right? So if I have to go to class, gotta get up, go to class. If I have to go train, I have to get to the gym, right? If I have to go to work to be able to get the promotion, I gotta get to work, do what I need to do, and physically it's draining. A lot of times, though, we don't consider that the physical piece or the physical attributes it takes to do this thing we're trying to do. It's like 10% to 20% of the whole ball, right? We have a whole 80, 90% that we don't even realize is not physical. A while ago, I did a talk. It was called or episode. It was called "You versus You," and I touched on this a little bit in a different type of way, and it was really motivation to for you to always realize that what you're facing every day, it's not a physical battle, it's an internal battle. Um, and when I say internal battle, I guess I could have compared it better by saying it's not an external battle, right? With the outside people, it's an internal battle with yourself. You have to be realistic about your physical attributes, right? If I try to line this up in the sense of saying you can't jump higher than this person, you probably never will be able to jump as high as that person. If I say, hey man, you're not faster than that person, you're probably never going to be as fast. And that's okay. Hey, you're not quote unquote as smart as that person. That's relative, but you get what I'm saying, right? Because smart is obviously a mental thing, but the physical thing we think that smart, like I can't overcome them. They're just too smart. Kind of, right? So physically we are in a situation where we're trying our best to not be overwhelmed, one, right? But we have to progress to the next thing, which is the mental exercise. What does it require to overcome the actual 10 to 20% that we believe is keeping us from the goal? Like how do I overcome the 10 to 20% of physical being that I'm having to face or the physical being that I lack to be able to achieve, right? So I physically don't want to get out of bed. That's a mental battle, but physically I have to get up. I have to get out the bed. I physically don't want to shoot 1,000 shots or 500 shots, right? I physically do not want to create this podcast. I physically do not want to get up and do the things that have to be done in order to treat patients. I physically do not want to go to school to get the degree that it requires to be a surgeon. I physically don't want to create content. See, physically, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to actively do it. The truth is, man, you have to mentally prepare yourself to overcome the lack of the fact that physical I can only do so much about. If I'm willing to go to a quote unquote, how can I say, a mental space of being able to push myself when the other person is tired physically, mentally, I probably can gain some of that back. I can't jump as high, but I can jump more times than you. I'm not as smart, but I am very, very aware of how to make things simple, and I can finish tasks or I can do multiple tasks at one point in time without having to exert the same amount of, intelligence that you think I need to have. You mentally have to almost get to a space of realizing that throughout your whole life, everything you've done to that point has mentally prepared you to be able to overcome the physical deficiency that you feel like is keeping you from the goal. That's hard though. Like it really is hard. Like you can almost have to be in a place of realizing that all of the detractors or all of the failures that you've had are the reasons that you doubt yourself. And some people have a true understanding of what they think you should do, right? They like have a true understanding, like they think you should do this, but only you know what you really should do, right? And sometimes, man, sometimes it's walk by faith, right? Like sometimes it's like, hey, man, I'm going to get up and go this way, and when I'm going this way, I'm hoping that no one gets in my way physically. Because mentally, I'm going this way. I'm not stopping. I don't see a fall happening. I don't see a person in front of me to deter me. I just don't see any of those things that are going to not allow me to complete this. And within that mental space, man, you are really, really at war with the fact that are you going to give up on you? I love basketball, so I have to use basketball as an example that can, be a little bit more tangible for somebody to understand. Because sometimes when I'm having these conversations, for a lot of people who are listening, I'm probably talking above their heads or I'm probably confusing them somewhat. So let me simplify. If if I'm playing against an opposing player and they have all the measurables, they're taller, they're faster, they're longer, they have the athletic ability of being agile, powerful, all that. I'm like the quote unquote immovable object. I'm going to be there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not ducking anybody. I'm not dropping my head down. I'm not going anywhere. They say that you're better. Great. I think I'm better than you. The numbers don't make sense. Cool. They don't have to. You shouldn't be able to get to this place in your life. Great. Good thing you weren't walking with me when I was walking and getting to this place in my life. There's a certain level of mentality you have to adapt. And then the last piece, right, which is the third talking point, what did you learn and what did you do in defeat? Because you're not going to win all those battles, right? I'd be lying if I said that you won all the battles if you actually mentally overcame this physical deficiency and said, "Hey, man, I won every time." No, you don't win every time. You find out there's 99 ways to lose, probably, and you found the one way that you can win. And when you find that one way, you try to replicate it in other aspects of your quote unquote life. Cool, isn't it? We get so and so kind of sort of consumed with the failure, we don't realize that the failure is probably the best thing that could have happened to you. Within failure, I learned more. Right? And I failed quite a bit in my life, I'm pretty sure, when it comes to, counting, but I know the ones I can remember the ones vividly that I failed and I was like, oh, that's a failure. Some of the failures I probably don't remember, but I learned something. Like I was aware that like crap, that didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but I didn't fall. I kind of sort of just stumbled a little bit, right? So that's why I say, it's almost, for me, failure is expected. So I don't get I don't get rattled by it. It doesn't shadow me. It doesn't come with me. But I learn things. The biggest thing I can tell you is this: don't fear failure. Don't fear the thing that you physically do not have. Your brain can carry you. Your mental fortitude can get you there. It can. And I'm not saying that it's all going to be Skittles and rainbows and Disneyland. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, once you arrive at where you were trying to get to, you will sit down and you will have perspective. And you can share with the next person that's on a journey that particular perspective. And maybe they'll get there a little bit sooner with a lot less damage. Man, whew. I know. Um, man, it's great to be back. And I'm hoping that today's episode helped somebody. And if it did, great. If it did not and it confused you, I understand. I promise you, sometimes I have these conversations and these episodes, and I'm really, really, really like, did they get that? But hey, man, if you didn't get it, and maybe that one wasn't for you, and that's cool. Come back for episode 105, man. I may have some a little bit better, okay? But for everybody who's been rocking with us, man, thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you're looking for us, we're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're all over. Check our Instagram out, our Facebook, you name it, we're there. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a blessed one. I'll catch you in the next one.